Hey guys, Stephen Bogman here from Pro Physique. Today what I want to talk about is first contest expectations. So hey guys, happy Monday. I hope everybody's having a great start to their week so far. Today, what I want to talk about is first time show expectations. It's your first show, what should you be expecting? Before I get into that, I hope you all like my Canadian flag. Thank you very much, Jody. She flew all the way in from Canada to the show this weekend and brought me the Canadian flag. She said, Coach, you absolutely have to put it up in the background for when you do videos. Well, I guess, look, I acquiesced that request, that's what's up. But not to be outdone, you know where my heart lies. Yes. So, but that being said, I was really thinking this weekend about first time show expectations, right? A lot of first time competitors show. A lot of people, just testing the waters. And so I think that it's really important that we kind of talk about like what should you expect for your first show. Now, I think a lot of the people who did the show this weekend, they had a great time. It looked like everybody really enjoyed the show. That's always the main concern when we put on the show, right? So, but I also had a lot of them coming to me for feedback after the show. And so I think feedback and as being put in the position to judge and these things it really forces you to pay attention to a lot of the things that a lot of the other competitors, right? Because if you're coaching a show, you're paying attention to your competitor, maybe one or two other competitors, might, take your attention. But for the most part, it's your guys that you're worried about. It's your girls that you're worried about. And so there were definitely a lot of first-time competitors. And so I think it probably benefits you guys who have yet to compete and step on stage to talk about some of the things that you can expect when you get up there. So first and foremost, expect that for most shows, it's going to go by a lot faster than you think. Because of that, I always recommend you sign up for as many classes as you can. If they have an open, do that. If they have a novice, do that. If you just have, a first time or a debut, do that. Get as much time on that stage as you possibly can. Here is why. One of the biggest things that I see people take away credit from is experience on stage. And speaking from my own competition history, it took me a long time before I was comfortable on stage. Now, if you're gonna hit your poses, right, and you're gonna look your best, you have to be comfortable. When you've never been on stage before, expect like the stage lights are bright, it goes quicker. Things go off. Sometimes maybe you forgot your number, you're not paying attention, you're getting moved around. If you're like me, you kind of looked at other people backstage and you get in your own head a little bit. So the more experience you have dealing with all those things so that they're not making you as anxious and you're comfortable and that you know exactly how to get into all your poses, right? Front double bicep, whatever it might be, the better you're going to do on stage, right? And now there's definitely some things that we can do to make sure that we set you up, for success, which is really practicing your posing a lot, videotaping your posing, having plenty of critique, making time to get out for posing coaching, those kind of things. Those all are very helpful, right? Because it's not always, the person who is the most conditioned that wins. Sometimes if somebody else is close and say their proportions are crazy and they have really good just waist to shoulder ratio, maybe as long as their conditioning is close, that's not something you can outweigh if we're making small mistakes, right? We want to make sure that everything is on point. So expect that things are going to go off plan, but the more that you prepare and the more that you expect that things are going to go off plan, the better you'll do when they do. Because trust me, walking out onto that stage, seeing the people in the crowd, the judges just looking at you, like it can be very unnerving. So the more you practice your posing, the more you practice your stage presence, walking in your heels, getting into your poses, sticking with your strong poses and not going off and about, like all those things can be wildly beneficial to you for your first show. I think the second thing that I really noticed this weekend, it's conditioning. Expect that you need longer to get show conditioned than you think. There were a lot of people on stage this weekend, and those first-time competitors in particular, where they looked great. And it's not about not looking great, right? Here's the thing, it's a bodybuilding competition. Everybody looks great. We are nitpicking the best of the best, right? So conditioning typically can be one of those things that will set you apart from, a second or third place to a first place, right? And so it's easily one of those things that we have a little bit more control over, right? We don't necessarily have control over our muscle origins and insertions. We don't have control over our lever lengths, right? A lot of the things that genetics determine, like, we can only do the best with what we're given. So, speaking from experience, what we can do the most with is our conditioning, giving ourselves plenty of time to come in conditioned at a very high level. That automatically separates you from the pack. If you are on point with your conditioning, like, it is hard to ignore you as a competitor, right? So that in particular, if you're doing a natural bodybuilding show, conditioning typically will set you apart from the rest of everybody else. So if you give yourselves a little bit more time to diet, or make sure that you maintain at a leaner point so that you're closer to that stage weight. So even now, like, say you had to lose 30, 40 pounds, if you can stay within 20 pounds of your stage weight, you can diet for the same amount of time and bring in a leaner, better package, right? What you have to understand is take what you think you're gonna be on stage with and then subtract another 10 to 15 pounds, because that's typically what we're going to want you to be on stage with, to have that highest level of condition. For bodybuilders, for men's physique, I see a lot of women's figure competitors. Bikini obviously tends to be a line, but you still need to be lean, right? So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself more than enough time, or that after your first show, you really nail down your reverse diet. That way you are maintaining in a leaner position. We don't have as far to go to get you on stage in the future, and you're going to be more successful with that. I think this is the last one I want to talk about, and this really goes for everybody, but for first-time competitors specifically, get the judges' feedback. Even if you do well, we had a young girl who was second in the overall, right? Still came and got her feedback. You are never too good for your judges' feedback. Please remember that. The judges are much more objective than your friends. They're much more objective than the pictures. The pictures captures a small point in time, right? The judges are going, and they're the ones that determined your placing. So don't hesitate to get the judges' feedback. There might be judges that only give you positive feedback. They thought everything that you did was great. Now, that being said, there might also be judges that notice some smaller things that you can still improve upon. You want to make sure that you are improving and getting better each and every time you go. Don't be afraid to get the judges' feedback. Trust me, we're gonna do our best to tell you things we thought you did really, really well at, and we're also gonna give you some opportunities and some feedback on what we think that you can improve upon to improve your placing and do better on the next time you get on stage. Our goal for everybody is to continue to get better. We don't want to see people stagnant in their fitness journey, right? Just like as a coach, we want you to get better. The judges want to see you getting better. One of the coolest things is when you see competitors year to year just getting better and better and better. It is very fulfilling. It's an awesome thing to see, right? And that's what we want. So our goal when we give you feedback as judges is not to bring you down, but to help you to get better in the long run. We want to give you constructive criticism, right? Maybe you decide that you're not going to do a show again. It's still like, you never know what comes out in the long run. It's always beneficial to reach out to the judges to get your feedback. So those are just a few things that I think that you should expect as a first-time competitor to help you be a little bit more successful. Remember, it's going to go quicker. Practice your posing. Practice everything that you need to be doing on show day. Have it all planned out. The better prepared you are, the smoother it will go. 2, make sure that you give yourself more than enough time to diet and get the conditioning dialed in. It will set you apart from other competitors. 3, make sure you get the judges' feedback. It's hard to know where you need to improve and what those judges want to see from you if you don't go and talk to them. And I'll leave it there, guys. Obviously, there's some more stuff to it, but video doesn't need to run too long. So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon.